Hi everyone. Here I would like to bring one professional from She Mantra Group who is in a experienced marketing professional. I would like to introduce her first and then know from her she wants who she is, what she is into. Okay. So let me begin. So she was a cost accountant and transitioned into marketing field with her executive MBA from IIM Bangalore. And then she's a renowned professional in marketing associated with advertising companies like FCD and Lintas, and then headed certain organizations in retail marketing and consumer work, and then transition as a, then and added, not transition, as an became a faculty in institutes like Symbiosis, MIMS, and Manipal University. And now recently she has started her own consultancy firm which is into business strategy and retail marketing. Hi Jermina.
Hi.
Hi. Would you like to say more about yourself, whatever I have missed?
Okay,
Would like
so
to know. Yeah.
so I'm somebody who just loves retail as a customer as well as a marketer of the industry, and I'm also somebody who loves to cook, who loves to read a lot, who
Mhm.
loves to play with young children, and of course spend time with my family.
Okay, here I'd like to ask a question. Can you tell a fun fact which you always keep to your heart, close to your heart?
I think what I keep close to my heart normally is my son. I think
Okay.
he's like the most important thing for me,
A fun
and
fact.
almost
Yeah.
sorry.
A fun fact about yourself.
Fun fact about myself. I think a lot of people don't realize how short tempered I am. Somehow I manage to control it.
Okay, yeah. Okay, let's move into some questions, straight questions. Okay, how is it been from changing being an accountant, cost accountant, into transitioning into marketing? How was that transition for you personally and professionally?
So basically, when I started, I only worked first 3 years as an accountant actually, and it just happened because I started my career in the early 90s, 1990 to be precise. And we didn't have much choice. The Indian economy was just opening up, and because I was a accountant by qualification, when I applied for an ad agency, they promptly gave me a job in the accounts department. So I said, okay, let me get in, then I'll find a way to wriggle out and get into proper account management and client management. It took me about 3 years, but I will tell you one thing. What I really think today plays a big role in the success I have had professionally is the fact that I started as an accountant. A lot of people are scared of numbers,
Yeah,
and that is something
it,
which helps them, doesn't allow them to become the best in their field because they always feel, oh, numbers are scary and they don't want to play. So I don't have this fear for numbers. In fact, because I have handled them, I know how to handle them. I know how to, make them come alive and actually pull value out of them in terms of analysis. And that is something which has really, really helped me in good stead all throughout my careers. In fact, I would go to the extent to say perhaps everybody should begin their career with 2 years in a financial field, because at the end of the day, everything is about money. And you really need to, understand finance before you do any other aspect of any other business. So I think for me, while it sounds very boring that I started like a proper bookkeeping accountant, but the reality is it's played a big role in the success that I have had in my career. And marketing, of course, is great fun. As people say, marketing is an art and a science. I begin with the science, which is really understanding the numbers, understanding the market, the competitor. And then once you come with the problem statement, using the art part of marketing to really solve that problem statement. So that's what I, kind of enjoy, both these rational and, so to say, emotional aspects of the industry I'm in.
so now, when you are into marketing, initially you might have faced some challenges from an accountancy background in their marketing team. So it is like a budding star. You are a budding star in your marketing team. So how does that feel for you, and how you have grown or mastered it?
Yes, so the big challenge was that, finally in Lintas, when I managed to convince my then bosses that I wanted to shift to proper account management. And, when I shifted from Mumbai to Bangalore, I took a transfer and I also requested a change of department. It was something that didn't come easily. I had to kind of really struggle to get it. And after that, I would admit that the first year or two were a bit of a struggle because that was a time, you had IIM graduates join advertising industry, and I was a mere graduate with a cost accountancy qualification. So there was a bit of a, what should I say, kind of bias.
Mm-hmm.
And, I had to work probably doubly hard, and I had to also learn,
Mm-hmm.
because I was trained to be an accountant. So I had to really learn marketing, learn consumers, learn advertising, and then implement it. So it was a bit of a struggle. But yes, every struggle comes with its own success. So there were parts of me which I needed to shed, and I was able to do that. And there were parts of me which needed to kind of sprout anew, and which is something I did. And later on, as I continued in my career, some of the best bosses I've had have really brought out the best in me. And of course, some of the not so good bosses, which also come with the territory, have helped me know what I should not do going forward. So
Okay.
in both ways, there has been a learning.
Okay. Here, I would like to pinch you a bit in sense like not so good boss. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you were the boss, so what difference would you make or would you have done?
So I'll tell you how I like to work with my team.
Yeah.
One, there is a mother hen part of me in my nature. So I tend to probably be overprotective about my team.
Mm-hmm.
And what I definitely want to do is I want to give everybody a chance to speak and give everybody a voice.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be, because there are times people just don't allow certain team members to speak. So I don't allow that. I think I have run my teams democratically, but there have been times when, it's for me to kind of tell them what needs to be done very clearly. And it's not just in terms of what to do, but where we want to reach. And I like to give them the independence to reach there themselves. So that is something I have valued. And of course, monitor it and course correct it. It shouldn't be that on the last day you realize the result is not what we wanted. So that is what I believe in, a lot of guiding and mentoring to kind of, bring out the best in them. I'm sure I've had some employees who probably didn't find me good, but I guess again that goes with the territory. But yes, all that I can say is most of the people I have worked with me again in another organizations or would want to work with me in the future. So that's the best endorsement I can say.
Okay. So, in your professional profile, I have noticed two distinct designations. One is head marketing, the other one is vice president mark. So, how it has transformed you as an individual, as a person, and as a professional?
I think over the last 8-10 years, I have also had responsibilities which are kind of, whatever the designation being, almost a CXO level. It was sitting in board meetings, it is sitting in, reviews, sitting in the annual budgets and making very important decisions for the organization. And I think that has been a good learning curve as well. Yeah. So basically, whether it's a head of marketing or a vice president marketing, I think for the last 8-10 years, some of the responsibilities I've had have literally been CXO kind of responsibilities, whatever the designation, which literally means reporting to the person who is either the CEO or owns the company in certain private companies, and it's actually coming with responsibility with a lot of ownership. And it's an area which of course has its challenges, but I think it has also helped to bring out the best in me, because I work best when I have been given a lot of responsibility and freedom to kind of execute. And that is something, wherever I have excelled and done well, it's typically the work environment of freedom and ability to innovate that has helped me do that.
I have just observed three words. One is freedom, responsibility, and innovativeness. So if we combine these three qualities that are within you, how it has been owning a company now, starting your own consultancy business as a business strategist, uh, being an employee back then, how different it is.
I think the big difference is that I am the peon as well as the CEO. So,
Yeah, I
I'm
get that.
suddenly doing a lot of things which maybe I have not done in the last 5-10 years.
Yeah.
So that is one aspect of it. I think it also means that I am kind of now a 24/7 employee.
Yeah.
So, that is one major change. But I think it also brings a lot of sense of achievement and sense of independence. Today, I can decide which client I want to work for, also draw the boundaries for them and decide what I will do and what I will not do. It is my decision. It is not necessarily a corporate decision where sometimes, there is a real painful client, but yet you continue handling. So I have that freedom of choice for sure. And yes, obviously, I need to continue being innovative because people are expecting that out of me.
Yeah, this 24/7 thing. So you will be going out with this COVID thing. You are staying at home. So how do you think you could balance your work and life? First.
So, well, now that my son is a grown up and definitely doesn't want me around him, it becomes a lot easier to focus more on my profession.
Mhm,
But having said that, I have always been fiercely independent also about having me time.
mhm.
And that is something I always make time for and I cherish. So, the way I get my daily me time is I'm the last to go to bed because I spend the last half an hour, 1 hour reading a book of my choice or indulging in some hobby of mine. So that is one definite way in which I get my me time on a daily basis. And then, of course, in non-COVID times, it also meant on the weekends, either meeting my own friends or half a day at a beauty parlor or anything of that sort. But basically doing stuff that I wanted without having home responsibilities or work responsibilities at that point.
Okay, I'm getting personal. For a woman, going to beauty parlor is of two things. One is enhancing oneself physically, physical appearance, and what do you experience the other things other than the physical appearance?
I think one is we women tend to relate to people around us very easily. So I think, like a lot of people, if you see some of the jokes or memes going on during COVID about beauty parlors,
Yeah,
I think as much as we are missing the, corrections we need,
yeah,
we are also missing this chatting to a complete stranger who's sitting next to you getting a
yeah,
pedicure done, or, the therapist who knows you for the last 10 years, who you are catching up with on her family and she's catching up with on your family. So I think that's also one of the reasons why we go there rather than do any of these treatments at home. I mean, quite a lot of them can be done at home if you buy face packs and these creams, etc., etc. But
yeah.
we also go for the human interaction, and of course
Networking.
something all of us are missing right now.
Yeah. And so, if you have to talk about beauty and women and professional, how do you relate or how do you distinguish?
Well, of course, beauty normally is seen as something to be, seen. But all of us know that beauty is more than that. It's how you touch a person, it's how you come across to a person, and it's how much a person wants to meet you again. To me, the real beauty is when somebody actually has that for you. You know, it's not necessarily about appearances. Appearances can always be made up with a good trip to the beauty parlor. So I think it's really the beauty of your soul, the beauty of your personality, which is more important.
And here, I would like to add something over here. In sense, like you are into marketing. So marketing a product and marketing an individual as a brand, product as a brand, individual as a brand. What difference or similarities you can make out?
I think basically there are different kinds of branding. One is mass branding, and another is what you call personal branding.
Mhm.
Uh, I always believe that the principles of marketing remain the same. You need to just adapt it for the category that you go. And today it becomes also more of the media channels you use.
Yeah.
So, for example, right now for me, personal branding has taken a bigger role because I need to promote my consultancy, and currently the consultancy is only me. So, till now I have been marketing other people. Now, suddenly for me, I am marketing myself. So the personal branding exercise. So how do I present myself? What is it that I want to tell my prospective clients? That's different. While in marketing a product, it is really what the product is and what it will do for the customer and how is it better than its competitors. So it's the
Now,
same thing, but at an individual level.
okay. So here, now that you have talked about personal branding, so I would like to give you an opportunity of 3 minutes, say,
Yeah.
to market yourself as a personal brand.
Okay, that's very simple because I really spent a lot of time, starting this consultancy was something at the back of my mind for the last 3 to 4 years.
Mhm.
And what it has helped me is really kind of put together what I want to be. So what I offer my customers, and that's actually my personal branding, is exactly what I am. It's a lot of straightforward, no nonsense, approach to marketing. What I promise to bring is value. What I promise to bring is return on investment. What I promise is to make you do thing which is right for your brand, and not necessarily what a brand owner wants to do. Sometimes brand owners put their personal feelings as the brand feelings, but if that's not the case, you will find me as a client telling you that upfront. Of course, the final decision is yours, but it's my job to tell you what's right and what's wrong. Uh, and guide you towards the right path. So I think that's exactly what I am. Absolutely straightforward and very simple. I always say marketing is not rocket science. Only rocket science is rocket science. So let's not make it a rocket science if it isn't.
Yeah. Personally, let me share something. I really struggled with marketing. I hate marketing myself also.
So we need to do
But
a reverse call.
no, it is like why I'm saying this is we are coaches. We know how to coach people and inspire people. But this marketing thing, like so, you're going to coach well, or you're going to give so and so value for the client. So these are the aspects we know. The client knows who has come to us. That is fine. But letting others know is what is marketing, and that has become a great challenge for us. Now, my question is the personal branding for an individual, how different it is for a personal branding for a company who are into the same fields.
So I think a company would typically can have a lot more layers
Mm-hmm,
and a lot more, I would say, multi-dimensional aspects.
mm-hmm,
Because as a company, it is about the company culture, it's about the product, it's about the founders or the owners or the top management. So there are many aspects. While personal branding is to that extent extremely, one-sided, so to say, because it is about that person and it is what that person has. Now, an individual will have certain abilities and not have certain abilities. But as a company, when you have many layers, there are many things you can talk of. So personal branding, I think, is far more smaller and far more tight, and hence probably easier to do. Of course, it sounds very narcissistic. That is something even I'm dealing with, believe it or not. But yes, I'm getting used to the fact of talking about myself.
talking about yourself. So, talking about yourself is personal branding. That is what I understand from our
Yeah, and
conversation
simply
so far.
put.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if we get to talking about ourselves, so one thing really pops up as coaches is that what is the value that I follow, I have within me, and what value I'm going to provide to our clients.
Yeah.
So in those aspects, how marketing could impact.
So I think I would say it's similar to what I suggested. So my approach to marketing, like I told you, is very simple, straightforward, ROI based, hard brass tacks.
Mhm.
So maybe as a coach, whatever aspect you want to specialize in. So for example, if you're going to help people, teach how to excel or grow in their careers, then about that. If it is personal development, something about them which is holding back. So I think it's about finding that one thing out of the many things you can coach, which you like to coach best or do best coaching of, and talk of it. And in your personal branding, which is things like blogs or LinkedIn or Twitter, talk about it and share about it. So you will see my social media talk a lot about retail marketing and my strong views as a marketer, where I feel marketing gets wrongly targeted or wrongly blamed for things. You will find me being vocal about that. So it's about really finding that niche and building on it.
Okay, now I would like to shift from me to you. You as a personal brand yourself, as a professional of marketing and also as a personal brand. So if you have to project yourself, what values are you going to give to people, your clients or society at large?
I think what I'm going to bring is straightforwardness,
Mhm,
honesty,
mhm.
and I will help my clients get the full value for their money and a lot more.
ROI.
Sim-
Okay.
yeah.
So I have heard this return on investment a lot in today's conversation.
Comes
So
from being an accountant early in my career.
yeah. and how important it is for success in this.
I think business, whether we like it or not, end of the day is about money. If you are, as long as you are not an NGO, or you're not running a charitable organization, it is really about making more money, getting more money for the amount you have spent. And hence ROI will always continue to be important. ROI is also about spending your money efficiently. It's not just getting returns. You can say I spent 10 rupees but I got net 20 rupees, or I tried another method and my 10 rupees gave me 100 rupees. Now both are ROIs. Obviously the ROI of the 100 rupee return is far more efficient than the ROI of the 20 rupees. So even ROI is a continuous process. This year, if you have got 10 to become 20, how do you make it 25, 35, 50, 100 in the years to come, is how you should ideally build on it.
So I would like to ask one question from this
Yeah.
business strategy and personal branding. So, marketing for personal branding is little different from business strategy.
True.
So, how do you improvise personal branding to business strategy?
So I think business strategy, one is it has a lot more long term built into it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for example, is my strategy going to be a top 5 retail marketing consultants 10 years down the line? Then that's my strategy, and how I reach it and how I enhance. Maybe after some time it's no longer a personal branding, because if I want to be the top 10, perhaps I need to build a team, and that's when maybe the organization name takes precedence over my name. Maybe I have one or two equally well known partners in the industry who kind of partner with me, and we are doing it jointly. So there are many ways of doing it, but yes, business strategy is far more long term, and also it is far more focused, while person branding is about kind of doing it on a daily basis.
Okay. Now, whom you want to serve? A simple question, but a straight question for you. Whom you want to serve?
I definitely want to serve my retail colleagues, because like I told you, I love retail and it really brings out the best in me. And of course, I also want to mentor startups, because what I feel specifically in Bangalore, when I meet a lot of youngsters at conferences, or when I go for my B school guest lectures and the students are already working on a startup idea, is perhaps a lot of them are extremely tech savvy and have understood the tech piece well, but they seem to miss, and it's only due to lack of experience, not anything else, the customer angle. So that is another area I want to focus on, where I help startups really fine tune and define their customer for enhanced success.
Okay. With this, I come to one particular question. Working with institutes like Symbiosis, Manipal University, and NIMS, and working with startups, how do you differentiate this?
So I always enjoy visiting universities and giving guest lectures, and I'll tell you why. I always think it's a little bit selfish why I do it. One, when I go there, I prepare for it. So I typically have dates at least a month in advance. I take 2 weeks to kind of think and say what all I'm going to be putting in the presentation. I spend a couple of nights searching the right images or references, because in your normal day-to-day working, how much ever you may want to read extra or know what's happening in the world, you don't end up doing. But when I'm talking to students, so if I'm going as a guest lecturer from Reliance Retail, I want to talk to them beyond Reliance Retail. I've not come to market Reliance Retail, but I've come to talk retail marketing.
Yeah.
So then I kind of read up, and that of course improves my knowledge. And I also find youngsters have a very different perspective. So maybe I'm coming back with a very different perspective on certain problems which I have faced, because the youngsters, without any blinkers, without any biases, completely fresh minds, pose certain questions which makes you think that, hey, can I do my own brand a little differently?
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, it's also a little selfish, because it helps me grow personally.
Yeah.
And of course, nothing like youngsters to make you feel a little more energetic for another week or so.
Yeah. You know what? Here, I would like to share a personal experience. When I was in school, when I was working in a school, actually, just before that, I was working in university and then transitioned into working in a school. The transition and the enjoyment and the learning and the energy we experienced was completely different. I know how it resonates with your experience. Now, the second part of it, being a faculty or being a presenter at universities or colleges, to a startup mentor. So, what difference you find?
So, startup mentors, like any other entrepreneur, they are very close to their product.
Yeah.
So, I see my role as helping them shed what is not necessary
Mhm.
and how best to retain what is necessary or what else to add which is necessary. Now shedding is what most entrepreneurs, whether they are young startup guys or people who have run businesses for 30 years, find very difficult.
Yeah.
They will be kind of trying to justify and defend,
Yeah.
etc. I remember speaking to one guy who told me, I have XYZ problem. So he detailed the problem and I told him, okay, then it's obvious, you do this and remove your XYZ. And he said, no, but XYZ is also this and it's also that. And he was suddenly defending himself. And I was like, listen, you don't have to please me. If you either it's a problem or it's not a problem. So I
Yeah.
think the biggest problem is getting them to give up certain aspects about their brand, or getting them to rethink, because they have probably spent many hours in their mind with the idea, or getting it. Imagine somebody has worked for 2 years to perfect a particular
Okay.
product,
I
and you
would
tell
like,
them it's all wrong, it's not going to go well.
yeah, I would like to give an example. For that, just give me a solution for it. So I had a client, not client, he was my student and then became a client. So he came up with a product, a software product or something like that. So he was so thorough in it, and he was not willing to say that I'm going to launch it. They'll be more into the programming and developing the product. So, if in simple terms, if we say
Yeah.
developing the product and get stuck there, he's a startup, and being stuck in developing the product and defending that his product is best in the world and launching into the world. So, what advice would you give to such people?
I think, they basically need to be given the confidence, I feel, then
Mhm.
that, this is the right time to go into it, because there is also a timing of the market. If
Yeah,
you're not going to do it, and if it's really a need, somebody else is going to come up with it.
yeah,
And this is where you need to kind of help them fine tune. And what I was saying, maybe
yeah,
certain tech guys, they are great at talking to machines. They are not great at talking to people.
yeah,
So then they need to get the right kind of partner or supporters who do that for them.
yeah,
All of us cannot do everything, right?
yeah, yeah,
So I think that is where they then need to either look at specialists like you and me,
yeah.
or they need to look at actually hiring people, or partnering with people who
Partnering.
would do that aspect. Because if he's great at programming, honestly, he shouldn't be getting distracted by anything else, and focus on that, in my view.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what is your message? This is my last question. You can, you'll be free then. Okay. So my last question is, what is your message to your audience? Your audience.
My message is that there is a lot that is possible. And I think COVID has shown us that what we need to do is constantly innovative, extremely agile, and willing to change. I think the willing to change is the biggest barrier for a lot of people's success. And this is something I would urge people to kind of write down and say every year, what is the one thing about them they want to change? And change doesn't mean give up. It could mean enhance. It could mean improve. It could mean, tackling a particular weakness, and, at least minimizing the times you are showing that weakness, or, falling prey to that weakness. If it's a strength, how do you improve it, and how do you showcase it better? You may know your strengths, but others may not know your strengths. So how do you kind of talk about it and present it? So I would definitely say that ability to change is one of the biggest reasons for success for anybody.
Thank you so much, Jermina. This
Love
was
talking to you.
lovely. And even I have learned a lot through this conversation. So,
Great.
hope this would benefit a lot more people, and maybe they come up to you or me.
Definitely. And
For
maybe we could also partner.
yes, and they could enhance their own skills. Thank you.
Yes, great. Lovely. Bye.